For this gaming interview, I got to talk to Dino, otherwise known as Nico, a Twitch streamer out there who recently completed a run in gaming that has never been done before. It took him almost 2 years of preparation as he took down 7 software games: Demon's Souls, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, along with Sekiro and Elden Ring. He beat those games back to back to back, all one continuous run, all level 1, without taking any damage.
You got it. It's okay.
We did it. It's 2 fucking years. It's almost 2 years.
So obviously I had to sit down and talk with the guy about how crazy and incredible this was. Hope you guys all enjoy the interview. Make sure to leave a like and comment down below for more of these in the future. But enjoy Dino himself.
Yeah, of course. Like, my name is Nico, or Dinossindgeil on Twitch and all the other platforms, YouTube. And I run Hitless for like 7 years now. I am doing this with a lot of passion. I have been grinding these runs for a very long time already. You covered one of my runs like a couple of years ago, which was basically the same run leveled without any restrictions. And yeah, I really like this stuff for some reason. I don't know. It's painful, but I enjoy doing it.
And so for the casual viewer like myself, how would you describe what this last run was?
That was like, in general, like the rules of it, or
yeah, like for someone who doesn't understand, you know, the FromSoftware games and the back to back to back no hit style run.
Okay, yeah.
How would
It
you
is
explain
called
that?
yeah. It is called a marathon run. Like, it's all 7 FromSoftware games that FromSoftware. I mean, there are more FromSoftware games, but it's the Soulsborne genre basically. Like, it started with Demon's Souls in 2009. Then they released Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and finally Elden Ring. That makes 7 games in total. And the goal of the run is basically to beat all of these games consecutively without taking a single hit by any enemy or any boss fight throughout the entirety of the run. And you can take fall damage. That's allowed. Like, environmental damage is allowed as well, to set up a low health bar, for example, because some of these items in these games give you like more damage the moment you are on low health. So you can do that to yourself by dropping somewhere, for example. And yeah, on this particular run, there was the restriction that I had to start with the level 1 class in all of these games, and I was not allowed to level up throughout the entirety of it, basically.
And so you completed this run this past week, and are you
Yeah.
the only known person to have done
Yes.
this?
Yeah.
So
That was a world's first 2 days ago. Yes.
So it, like, for some people, it's an incredible feat. It's also, you know, kind of insane. So like, where's your motivation lie in wanting to even complete a run like this?
I don't know. I really love these games, first and foremost, and I throughout the last 7 years, I've always like pushed myself like further beyond. Basically, like, I do something and then we overcome that, and then like I try to do something like equally as hard or even harder. Every once in a while, obviously, you want to do something in between that, you know, as like a vacation, basically. But I really enjoy doing these challenge runs, and I guess I just want to test how far you can go sometimes, or how far I can go. I know that there are like other players out there who are better than myself, but I really want to test my limits, I guess.
And I think you were telling me too, when it comes to preparation for a run like this, you have to be perfect, right? And otherwise you're going to cost yourself dearly and you might properly go insane.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you go into detail what that preparation was like?
Yeah, obviously, like there's a big difference between no hitting one of these games like once, and obviously no hitting one of these games on level 1 once and getting some consistency into it. And if you want to do like a long marathon stretch, you need to have like a consistency rate of, I don't know, let's say you get to a 60% would be amazing already, that you get like 6 out of 10 runs in one game, but you can't really achieve that on all 7 games. At least I was never able to achieve a 60% quota on all of these games. There are some games who are even better and some games who are much worse. And I think what you want to do before you start something like that is just relentlessly practice the bosses, the running sections. Just try to get really good, consistent strats that make you, make you just as consistent on one particular or on multiple games as you can possibly be. Yeah, I think it's a good strategy to first practice the single games before you stitch them together. Yes.
So how much time in total did you spend preparing for this run?
Like the preparation itself and the grind for me started roughly 2 years ago. Roughly 2 years ago, I had to learn Sekiro as well on level 1, which was really hard. Sekiro is a terribly hard game on level 1. Dark Souls 2 as well. Those, I would say, are the 2 hardest games. And yeah, it took me all like the first half year or so at least to get to know these games better and to understand what can I do where and where do I get hit the most and what bosses do I have to practice the most. And then after that, it was like a long grind, just attempt after attempt, and trying to get like, runs farther into the marathon, basically.
So what would you say is the hardest game of these 7 and why?
Like Sekiro and Dark Souls 2 are both very hard. At the moment, I would say Dark Souls 2 is even harder than Sekiro. It's like a much longer game than Sekiro. Sekiro can be done within an hour. Obviously, you have to parry everything perfectly on Sekiro, which makes it incredibly difficult. But on Dark Souls 2, there are a couple of things that make this game incredibly hard. First and foremost, the level 1 class has incredibly low stats. On all Dark Souls games, you usually have your level 1 class with all stats like agility, strength. Every stat is at 10 at the beginning, and in Dark Souls 2, it's only at 6. I don't know why they did that, but they really nerfed the level 1 class on that game, particularly. And also, there's a stat called ADP, adaptability, and that's directly connected to your rolls. When you cannot level it up, your rolls are close to worthless because you cannot really dodge attacks well. You have to like strafe them or outrun them or not even let the enemy come close to you. And that's why Dark Souls 2 is such a tedious and long run. I would say it's the hardest, yeah.
What was the hardest boss in the run?
For me personally, the hardest, I mean, there are a couple of hard bosses, but for me personally, the hardest boss is the last boss of Sekiro. That's the Emma and Ishin combination. It's like a back-to-back boss fight, and you have to fight them for quite a while, and that's why it's really, really hard.
Just a couple more questions for you. So like when you're in
Mhm.
this run, and I apologize, I wasn't able to watch the full list of attempts.
No, all good.
Were there any moments where you were trudging along and you were getting close and had some mishaps that were like a real hurt to your mental, or like how do you rebound
Yeah.
after mistakes like that?
Like I had 2 attempts where I was on game 7 before already, and I failed both of these attempts on the last game. And I don't know, I just wanted it to happen at some point, I guess, and that's why I just kept going. Like I didn't even take a break anymore after that. I kind of knew that it's going to happen. I just didn't know when and how many attempts I need to go through to make it happen. But when you're so far in and you have to reset all the way back to the beginning, it's like, I don't know, you lose 16, 17 hours of run basically just due to one little mistake, then that really hurts.
So you clearly enjoy these games from software
Yeah,
games.
yeah, I do. Yeah.
I feel like this is something a dev would love to see, right? Someone going viral for doing all of their a playback, a back to back of all of their games. So is there
Mhm.
like a message you had for From Software after all of this? Like you hoping for some sequels so you can run this back, whether it be 8 or 9 games long?
I mean, I would love to see FromSoft continue in making these type of games, of course, because I just like it. I think Night Rain is not going to be one I would stitch to the run because of the randomization and everything. But if they ever, and I heard at least that they're working on a project, if they're ever releasing one of these types of games again, I would love to try to stitch one and see if you can beat it as well. If it's 8 games back to back, yeah, that would be cool.
We'll see you again in 2 years when you're doing 8 or 9 games
Yeah.
back to back. Last one for you. Are there any future runs that you want to accomplish? I mean, you had a world's first tier, so is there anything else you're preparing to do?
For now, I am taking a little bit. I'm taking a step back for now for the next couple of months, probably, where I'm gonna do some of my backlog, some stuff I really wanted to do, other like smaller runs, and then I might go back and try some games stitched together on all bosses. Because on this long marathon run, we did any percent runs. That means basically from the beginning, you just kill the necessary bosses to see the credits, and you could basically yeah, make this run even longer by going for all bosses in all of these games, for example.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's gonna be horrible.
Well, thank you very much for doing this on last note.
Yeah, thank you.
This is awesome. I'll be sure to tag you in anything I post, and then
Yeah, no problem.
would you prefer that I